Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the 2020 YugiTuber Grand Championship. So for this match, we have Mono Blue Tron, usually my co-commentator, but for this match, we have someone else who you might like just as much, if not even more, going up against Dzeeff. But before we get into what the round entails, let's go ahead and introduce the one and only Twitch master himself, Farfa.
Hi everyone, I'm the guy who played FTK round 1. Sorry.
Your match hasn't even gone up. Well, actually, I don't know if your match has gone up yet at this point, but we'll have to see. Yeah, it should be. But in any case, so for people who don't know, we are doing the Cross-Banlist Round for this first round, and what that means is each of these players was assigned a different year and has to use whatever deck they want from that specific year to play against one another. So in this case, Mono Blue Tron had 2016. We are seeing Monarchs, not Monarch FTK. Don't worry. I know you guys probably have PTSD from that. This is actually extra deck Monarch, probably one of the strongest decks of that time, going up against Dzeeff in 2005. So, I mean, we have, like, what is Chaos is the best deck?
So no spoilers, but I'm pretty sure when you're 11 years behind the meta, you're probably at a significant disadvantage for this matchup.
I mean, yeah, for sure. You're at a significant disadvantage, but at the same time, you do get to play with all the banned cards that the newer decks don't get to play with, so there is that. Also, any deck prior to 2014 does get to draw its 6th card going first, just like the old days used to be, so there are some advantages to playing the older decks, but they're definitely outclassed to a significant degree.
I mean, I remember me and my friends were sitting eating a kebab in 2014, and one of my friends was playing goats as he was snacking, and the other player was playing full power Jeff Jones Chaos Shaddoll thing with the baby dragons and stuff all at 3, and he managed to win a game. So it can happen, you know, it works sometimes.
We've seen some upsets in other rounds as well. Granted, it was because of the players not knowing how to play the newer decks, but it doesn't mean upsets are impossible. I will put that out there.
Yep. But Doug has just been hand looped for 1, so I think he needs all the cards
for 1.
he needs.
To be fair, he does have access to all the other crazy power cards as well, so, I mean, he could be doing some hand looping of his own, but it looks like Mono Blue Tron's on a pretty good start here. We saw him going from an Edia into an Eidos, going into Erebus. He had Return of the Monarchs up as well to get Aether, so, I mean, he has March of the Monarchs as well, which, I mean, targeted and destroyed by card effects. That's pretty much all cards back in that day do, but Doug is also playing, I believe, not one, but multiple copies of Crush cards, so he's playing, like, max rarity Chaos, and apparently won every SJC back in the day to have 3 Crush cards in his deck, but these two talked prior. They wanted to have, like, an actual back and forth, not just a complete blowout, so we'll see what happens.
See, you say they wanted a bit of a back and forth, but Joe's gone over here and just summoned an Erebus and activated March of the Monarchs, so, like, I think if you were playing blind with this deck, you'd probably want to, like, I don't know, set up a domain or so. Oh, actually, he's playing Extra Monarchs, so maybe like a rank 5 or something like that. But March of the Monarchs with a monster that's 2800, like, it's gonna be really hard for him to just out that.
It is going to be difficult, but that's the fun of it, though. I wanted to just see some absolutely ridiculous, unfair Yu-Gi-Oh! For this round. Anything can happen, and some people have actually gone with some pretty interesting deck choices, as we've already seen, and we get to see pre-errata Dark Magician of Chaos come out and get Graceful Charity back to the hand. So, I mean, when is the last time you've seen that?
There's, like, you know, basically 3 ban cards here, if we count Demox errata, so, like, I mean, if Doug can just front load enough, like, Forbidden Unlimited cards onto this board here, he could out an Erebus at least. And
yeah, I mean, if he draws like Harpy's Feather Duster or Heavy Storm, and then, like, you know, any way to out Erebus, then, like, that's not terrible, right? That's not, like, too unrealistic with Graceful Charity in your deck.
Have a chance here, yeah. The good thing is, like, you know, Monarchs back in the day, even in their prime, notoriously bricky, like staring at a hand of like Kurazes and Primes not able to, like, do anything. So there's a chance, like, he can take the whole match here, but, you know, we'll see if he can get through this board first and foremost. Oh, reasoning.
Reasoning. There's a throwback. So we're going to see what the call is here. Obviously, these two, I think, were in a Discord call, so we're not going to know the exact level called, but we'll know if the monster gets summoned or not. I'm pretty sure Joseph wouldn't have called 5, so that Thunder Dragon is going to hit the field.
Yeah.
Dzeeff, you also see in the chat there, putting out the pre-errata text for cards like DMOC as well as Brain Control, for anyone who may not know that these cards have been errataed and are pretty much worthless. Monster Gate. Okay, we're just going for another one.
Oh my god! Whoa. Does he have a chance? Oh, wow.
So that's the thing, right? I mean, it's not even just the Crush cards. He has the SJC Cybersteins in this deck as well. Doug must have just been the absolute either best player at the time or just the richest player to be able to afford all these prize cards.
I wonder what you summon with Cyberstein in 2005 to out an untargetable Erebus. There has to just... is there just like a 3000 vanilla fusion he can just put up here?
Blue Eyes Ultimate?
Okay.
Was that even out at the time?
I mean, Blue Eyes Ultimate is like one of the first fusions, surely, right?
Right. Okay. So we'll have to see. I think they're also Doug is also playing with priority. Funny enough. Yep. So that's another advantage that the older decks do get. So priority coming down here for Cyberstein. We're gonna see what he summons. I can't like what other good targets for Cyberstein? Last Warrior from another planet. Oh, Gatling Dragon. Okay.
Oh my god. So toss a coin 3 times, destroy as many monsters in the field as possible, but not more than the number for heads. So if he hits like 1, that's perfect. Like even 2 is like fine. You could just pop his own Cyberstein. There's a heads. Okay, big.
There's a heads.
It doesn't target.
There's
correct?
a tails. Oh
wait.
It doesn't target, but it doesn't matter because March protects from targeting and destruction. So yeah, but 2 heads off of Gatling Dragon, 2 out of 3. I mean, it's so funny. Like against other decks, this would be so broken. But obviously, Yu-Gi-Oh's power creep is just going to be on full display here. So Doug's actually just going to go ahead and get rid of his own Cyberstein so that he can banish both that and the Thunder Dragon for the Chaos Sorcerer in his hand. But unfortunately, the Chaos Sorcerer does target, so March is gonna just protect the Erebus here. We see Stormforth now getting flipped. Looks like we're gonna banish to get Prime Monarch out of the graveyard, and here comes the Aether. We're just gonna get rid of anything that's a possible threat, and now Aether comes down. This is this is just flashbacks here.
It's really weird because like I think like even I don't know if it seems like to me like Doug was unaware about the destruction effect of March there, which is why he summoned the Gatling Dragon, because I just feel like you just have to summon like a beat stick there, which I assume there's probably an ultimate dragon in there if he's playing Stein, because there's no other like relevant extra deck cards. But it seems like it wouldn't have really mattered anyway because he had the Stormforth on your opponent's turn with Aether, which is ridiculous, tributing your opponent's mod. Like this was crazy like plays back in the day for anyone who didn't play this format. Like playing against Cosmo, they summon a pilot and you just like Stormforth Aether them on their turn. Really
it's
crazy.
Absurd.
Yeah.
It's absurd. Yeah, MBT is going to go ahead and resolve that effect of Aether, sending a couple Monarch spells and traps, getting Caress to the field, and also adding to his hand be the effect of Return of the Monarch. It's just so funny to see that this used to be the best, not the best deck of 2016. It was one of the best decks of 2016. And now, like, you see the format we're in now, if you're watching this in 2020, Adamantipator, Eldritch, like, it's so fascinating to me just measuring the scale of some of these formats.
It's like, I feel like Monarch is always, like, kind of like a strange deck, and, like, I feel like it's, like, in terms of, like, cross-banlist, it's always, like, it's, like, consistency that I think would hit it, but, like, cards like Erebus, cards like Domain, they're super absurd versus, like, certain meta decks of past or even present.
Absolutely. Yep, Stormforth also being one of those as well, but Dzeeff isn't going to be able to find a way to out that, so he is just going to scoop it up. We should give MBT some credit, though. He could have played full power Pepe for this match and decided not to, so, I mean, talk about sportsmanship.
I mean, if he wanted to give Doug a chance, he probably should have just played Cosmo. That deck's terrible.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, can Chaos decks out a Dark Destroyer, though? I mean...
yeah, that's a good point. All the ships are untargetable. Yeah, never mind.
Okay, Delinquent Duo from Dzeeff
that
here.
Could
so
be
this
game?
Is going to be some...
Like, because Monarch needs, like, consistency in the cards. Like, hopefully, you know, he gets lucky and just smacks, like, the correct pieces. Or he just hits Prime in a spell, and that would be terrible. Okay,
Aether.
That's big.
That's not bad. And he's going to get rid of Prime. I was going to say, there are a few cards that Joseph wouldn't mind having in the graveyard, and Prime is one of them. We're going to fire off a Reasoning here, so we're going to see where this goes. It's another Thunder Dragon. That's unfortunate.
So...
Do we have a Monster Gate? Oh, we're just going to hard summon Cyberstein. Okay.
What's good versus Monarch? Like, Last Warrior?
Last Warrior?
Okay.
I guess?
Right. There we go.
Oh, there it is. Okay, so that's not bad.
And
set to pass. Okay. Like, this is probably as good as it's going to get for, you know, 2005 in some instances. But if... One of the weird things about the interaction with this is that Monarchs do normal summon.
Yeah. It's...
So... Oh, it's summon, period. I'm sorry, it's not normal summon. It's... or I thought it just stopped special summon.
Player
but
can
no,
summon.
So,
I'm legitimately trying to think of an out right now, and I can't think of an out. You can tribute set. I suppose, but that doesn't... You can... Yeah, maybe you can... Can you tribute set with Stormforth, perhaps?
Because it's not summoning.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to go for Pantheism, get the Stormforth here. I think they just shortcutted there and just didn't show all 3 copies of Stormforth. But yeah, it looks like... Was Stormforth the solution? Yep,
it
looks
is.
like it.
Yes.
And so Last Warrior is going to go away. I mean, a card as powerful as Last Warrior still cannot hold up to Monarch, and you know, Stormforth being the reason for that. But still, that is just absurd. A deck should not be able to deal with that. That is crazy.
That's always like the funny thing with Monarchs and why it was so good at the time. It's like it's so like good at just dealing with any sort of weird rogue deck or any sort of situation like that. That's a brilliant fusion. Chainsvine MST. Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty... I was about to say, here, speaking of banned cards, it looks like Joseph has one of his own, but Mystical Space Typhoon going to clean that up really quick, so we're not going to see any of the extra deck shenanigans, at least this turn. Going to normal summon Eidos here next, and flip up this Dark Witch that was set.
So you had 2 options for vanilla target. Actually, that's... I don't know if that... Was that Brilliant Fusion legal? Is he playing like 2 vanillas?
He might be playing 2 vanillas,
okay.
Yeah. But we're going to see a Compulse on Dark Witch, so that way Dzeeff does not die. Dark Witch being the target typically for Brilliant Fusion, so you could summon Seraphonite. Yeah. It was typically... yep, there. He's just going to Tribute Summon out his Dark Witch that was bounced back to the hand. The other option was Jack's Knight, which had 100 more attack, but it was a warrior. So because it was a warrior, it actually didn't pair well with cards like Rivalry of Warlords, because Eidos and... what is it? There's some card that's a warrior. Is it Edia as a warrior? I know there's some warrior in this deck that like conflicts. But
the most important thing
it's the
was
little
like
things, right?
Yeah, so like it had to be light for Pleiades, and so the other
level 5 for Pleiades.
Yeah. So it had to be light level 5 for Pleiades, and you also could play like the Octobeam, I think his name is.
Occubeam.
Yeah. So you could play that, and.
Okay, we Monster Gate into another Cyberstein. That doesn't really matter when Dzeeff's only on 1,200 life points here, but it would be nice nonetheless. Looks like MBT's really gonna just... That would have been insane, yeah. But end phase, Prime Monarch's just going to come down here. We're just going to see Tenacity. Dzeeff's just going to scoop it up because we already know where it's going to go. We can just tribute over that Cyberstein. He didn't even have to do that. He could just switch Prime to attack and attack for game. But, you know, this is just, you know, the power creep of types of decks like this. But, yeah, I mean, what more can you really say?
Congratulations to MBT moving on, and I guess unlucky to Doug rolling such a terrible year.
Guys, thank you so much for watching the video, and we will see you in the next match.